Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the absolutely freezing cold state of Utah. It is January 2021. We have made it past 2020, guys, but we still have unresolved issues. We are here with the Mercedes today. Yay! And there's some things that we need to work on. First of all, the car is absolutely filthy from the recent snow and the salt on the roads, and it's just, oh my gosh, it is so dirty. The second thing, which you may remember, shortly after we got the car, we installed one of these paddle shifter extenders. Now, at the time, I had seen a possible alternative, but I kind of lost it, and these paddle shifter extenders were really all I was finding to give you a bigger surface area for being able to use your paddle shifters. Now, for whatever reason, the ones that the car comes with are these itty bitty little things. Like it's so small. I mean, it's like a whole, it might be 2.5 inches. It's so small. And we pretty much decided that just was not going to cut it. Basically, unless you had your hands at 3 and 9, there was no way to reach the shifter. Now, in a car where I've got a Sport Plus mode, and an individual mode where I can basically set it to be manual shifting, that just wasn't going to work too well. So we installed these extenders, and that greatly increased the range at which, you could reach it. But, we lost one. You see, with the extenders, we wound up putting some undue torque onto the original shifter itself. So while we're able to reach it from higher up now and from lower below, you could actually feel it kind of torquing that original shifter as you try to pull it, which had worried me for a little bit. I wasn't sure it was the greatest thing. And then sure enough, a few weeks ago, it completely snapped off. So today we're going to be pulling the wheel off, which is going to be all kinds of fun. We're going to pull the wheel off, take the airbag out. We're going to try to get at the back of this thing so that we can remove the paddle shifter mechanisms, because we've got something new that we're going to install. So I found these again a few weeks ago. Wound up getting them for Christmas. We have here, we have here these replacements that are one piece. So it's not quite as big as the extender itself is. So it's a little bit smaller, but it's one piece. And if you look at the back here, the back is identical to the piece that's originally in the car. So this basically just replaces the stock shifter. So we've got to pull the left side one out. This one's obviously broken off, so we got to pull out the switches themselves, and basically these are just held in with a pin. And so we'll just knock the pin out, pull the other one off, knock the pin out of the one this one came from. That will allow us to be able to install these new ones, put the pin back in, and we should be good to go. And the nice thing about these ones is this whole thing is metal. I can't exactly tell you what metal, but it's all metal, so it's going to be a lot sturdier than the plastic that this one is. So we shouldn't have any more breaking. So because we need to remove the airbag, we're going to go ahead, open this up, and oh my gosh, it's so dirty. We need to get that cleaned sometime too. Bronson, send me a message. Like, we need to clean this up, man. We need to get that done. So first things first, we're going to want to disconnect our battery. That way, we don't have an airbag blow up in our face, because that would be much less than ideal. Alright, so we've got our negative terminal disconnected and out of the way. Also, surprise, turns out you want to change your air cabin filter. It's right here. That's where it is. It's just boom, right there. So go figure. Or at least that's where one of them is, because I think there's another one inside. But we've got our negative disconnected. We moved our steering wheel up already, so let's try to get the airbag out. Then we'll work on removing the wheel. Now, I don't terribly like what we have to do for this part, but it is what it is. And I guess you do what you do, or you do what you gotta do. So on the inside of the steering wheel here, we've got this whole dimple here, and we've got one on either side. And as you can see, it's flush right now because the steering wheel's never been removed. So we actually have to puncture that with like an Allen wrench or something. So yeah, but supposedly once we punch both sides, there should be a there's like a trigger in there that should release the oh, whatever this boy is again, the airbag. All right, so yeah, you basically just use a larger one. I don't know how big this is. You can decide how big that looks like it is. Anyhow, the pin that you're going to want to push, it's basically right inside. You hit it pretty quick. It gives a lot of resistance actually. So you'll think you're pushing against something you're not supposed to, but basically just keep pushing. Do it on either side. It'll release. You see we've already got a gap here, so we should just be able to pull this the rest of the way out. All right, so now we just want to disconnect this. And I'm curious if we can get to the switches without having to take the entire thing off. I think we can. I'm also mildly concerned now because these little plastic pieces were just like sitting in the bottom here, and I don't know what they go to, but they broke off something, and I'm pretty sure it's not something we just did because nothing's broken. I can't even figure out where they came from. What the heck? Okay, so anyways, what we're going to try to do at this point, so at this stage, this looks like it's probably, so this is probably your media controls and everything. What it looks like though is we should be able to unscrew these, and this should actually get us back to, yeah, I think I can feel it there. That should get us back to the nut that we need to loosen in order to get the shifters off. So let's go for that. Especially since it looks like you actually need a special tool for this. And yeah, I don't have that. Alright guys, so this is definitely the way to go. We pulled out these two screws here. You just need T20 Torx to get both those out. At that point, you basically just have to pry this, we'll just call it a fascia piece, this trim piece up. And right underneath, you can see we can get right at those bolts that are holding in our triggers. So, and then if we trace up those wires, so we've got right here, so this red one here, if you can see that color, so on this side we have, can we get that focus? On this side we've got one. This one is our left paddle, and this one is our right paddle. So we'll go ahead, we'll disconnect those, we'll unscrew these. That should let us thread everything out the back. Also, benefits of doing it this way is we don't have to actually remove the wheel. And per the manual, when you remove the wheel, you're supposed to mark this bolt. And every other time this bolt is removed, it's actually supposed to be replaced. Which means that if you wind up opening this up and it's marked, you're actually supposed to replace this. So we don't need to worry about that. We don't need to worry about any of those safety implications that may or may not be there. And, it means we don't have to remove the wheel, which kind of makes me happy. Alright, so these again are just T20s. The way I'd recommend doing it is we just pull off the whole trim, makes it definitely easier. Pull up the cables for the paddles that will be rested down in these grooves and stuff. Just pull that up. That lets you get a little bit more wiggle room on it. Then just push in that pin, wiggle it around, pull both sides out. You might be a little worried about pushing the connector through the hole, but two reasons you shouldn't worry. One, it will fit through. Two, this hole's not exposed on the back side, so that hole winds up getting covered by the pedal itself. So even if some of that material goes back through, you don't need to worry about it. So we've got both of these out, so let's go ahead and grab our replacements. Let's run inside real quick. We will punch these pins through so we can pull off the old paddles, and we'll get the new ones installed. Alright, so the pin comes out super easy, which is nice. I was worried that we weren't going to be able to get it out super easy, but I kind of bootleg, just used this sprinkler key thing, and it actually worked perfectly to just punch that right out. It came out super easy. So older models, I know I've seen some where they actually have a spring inside. This design actually uses this little, like, it's like a rubbery type piece that you know, we've got, I'm not sure exactly what you would call this, but we've got it's probably like a little magnet or something that when it touches this contact induces an electrical signal that winds up, you know, that's what shifts the gears. So that sends the signal up. But so that was super easy to get at. So we'll just, since this is the one that's been exposed, we're just going to clean it up a little, just with some isopropyl here. I just want to be sure that it's, you know, that the board's clean and stuff. I'm not too worried about it, but just as a precaution. And we'll get this remounted where it's supposed to go, get this put together, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's done. Alright guys, so quick note here. When you get that all put back in, you actually want, so on these, you know, we actually have like these, we've got these little hooks on it here. Those hooks actually are, they sandwich the end of this together. So you wind up like looping it through there so that this thing's both being supported by the switch itself and by this. So that yellow piece is going to be sandwiched between there. So you kind of like, you know, you kind of like twist it in. All right, so we got those on. Something weird I've noticed is that our plus clicks softer than our minus, which might just be the difference in wear. Like, I mean, that's got a pretty audible click, I feel like. And the plus, it's just not, I mean, this thing's like, you know, we've got a pretty audible click there. And our plus is like, so, I mean, the good news is these switches themselves, I'm pretty sure I found them on Mercedes parts. They're like 30 bucks, I think. So if we wind up needing to replace the whole switch, it's not too much. Hopefully we don't need to do that. But it is kind of weird that it doesn't click quite as, I mean, this is a very pronounced click compared to, so hopefully it's nothing. Either way though, we're going to get these threaded back through. We're going to get them screwed back in. Unfortunately, I pretty much have to put everything back together in order to test it. I really kind of wish I could test it without having to put the whole car back together, but you know, we kind of have to plug everything back in, put the airbag back in, reconnect the battery. So let's get that done though. Hopefully everything looks good. As long as everything looks good, then we'll work on just cleaning up the car some because it's filthy, and we'll be good to go. It'll be awesome. So we got this one threading through already. We'll just have to get this lined up, get that screw put in. All right, so that'll sit. That'll be looking just like that, which isn't bad. I mean, like I said, it's not, I mean, it feels all right. It's not quite as high as the other one was, but it's got a really nice texture to it. It's got a really nice feel to it. It definitely gives us, I mean, that should definitely be high enough. I can still reach out with like my pinkies and stuff. So and it looks clean too. I'm a fan of that. I'm liking that. That only took us about 30 minutes. It's actually 12:35 now. Clock stopped at 12:05, and you know, that's with, you know, trying to record it and everything. So that's not too bad. So we're going to go ahead. Nothing's yelling at us. Everything looks good. I mean, other than our seatbelt. So let's just take this around the block real quick before we start cleaning it up and just make sure everything's working right. And oh, you can't even see that display. Okay, there we go. And as long as everything checks out, we'll clean her up. We'll be good to go. So our down is working, our up is working. Everything feels good. I mean, the paddles themselves feel good. You know, it's, the transmission's still slow, but that can't be helped. But yeah. So everything's looking good. All of our buttons seem to be working. So we haven't lost any infotainment accessibility, which is definitely good, because that would have been, you know, kind of devastating, but awesome, guys, awesome. Turns out my clock fixed itself. Love it. All right, so I do wish that that right side was a little bit snappier, kind of like the left side is, just that, you know, it had a little bit more of a click to that actuation, but that will work. That will do it. So if you guys like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. That lets me know you liked it. That lets YouTube know you liked it, which means that other people that are liable to like it are more likely to see it. Go ahead and hit that. If you enjoy this kind of content, please subscribe. There's always more videos coming. And I hope to see you guys next time. There will be links in the description below to where you can get these kind of paddle shifters and such. And I think that should about set you all up. So I will see you guys next time. So long.